So we will just recap whatever we discussed in last session about quality of service. So on the left side what you see is a 5G core architecture, wherein this blue pipe is nothing but PDU session from which the data traffic passes, and PDU session is nothing but series of connection from UE to G node B to UPF to a particular data network, and rest all elements are control plane elements to support this PDU session, whether UE moves from one G node B to other G node B and so on. So that is the architecture of 5G. All the network elements here are not shown, so only the main elements are shown so that it can be explained. So for a quality of service, how resources are aligned or allocated, so there is a concept of PDU session. So whenever a mobile latch onto the network and want to access, a PDU session gets created, and as I had explained earlier that for just a moment, let me take a pen. So the yellow color you see here, so this is your UE, this is your G node B, and this is your user plane function. So a PDU session gets created whenever UE has actually done all those authentication and synchronized and got connected. So it gets an PDU session, and in the PDU session there will be at least one DRB, data radio bearer, allocated like this. There will be one DRB given along with a PDU session, and that onto that DRB one quality of service flow will be given, which is called default quality of service, which is a best effort basis that is allocated to it. So that is initially given, and that quality of service with default QoS remain for the lifetime of PDU session. Till the time PDU session is there, that default QoS will remain. Now whenever now you want to access a service which requires different quality of service, for example, suppose it want to do a voice call. So in case of a voice call, I require a guaranteed bit rate and some other parameters. So what it will do is that it may assign me a separate DRB and a quality of service flow which has kind of a guaranteed quality of service flow onto the radio side. So this was on radio side, and thus there could be more than one QoS flow within the same DRB. If that DRB can support the second QoS flow, so that can be added onto that. So so this is on the radio part. Onto other side, between G node B and UPF, there is a common tunnel created. This is called GPRS N3 tunnel. This is a common tunnel, and onto that tunnel the quality of service flows are maintained. All the resources are allocated onto that, and beyond this you have application function or data network, where these are from where these IP flows are coming or going. So this is how resources are allocated on radio side and also onto the PDU session side. And I had also explained that how mapping of those service data flow, so every service IP flow is called service data flow, is mapped to a particular quality of service. For that our PCF gives a PCC rule to SMF, and based on that PCC rule it gives PDU rule to UPF, then QoS rule to UE, and QoS profile to G node B. We'll discuss what these are, we had discussed, and we'll recap. And based on these rules they filter out the particular, suppose it's a download traffic, then lot of IP flow will come here. Now UPF, since has got template or rule, PDU rule or SDF template, so it will filter that, and it will know that what service it is and which quality of service is to be applied, because it has already got rule from the SMF. So it will apply a particular QFI, quality of service flow ID. So once a number is given, then all parameters are prefixed generally, and as sir was saying, whether there can be different, yes, there can also be a different quality of service. So that is given here, and then onto the radio side also, based on that QFI, these resources are allocated. On the uplink side also, the UV will filter it out based on QoS rule it has got and apply a particular QFI, and in coordination of G node B, a particular DRB onto the DRB, this QoS flow will be added. There is also concept of reflective QoS, wherein whatever QoS is coming onto the upload, the UV will download, UV will apply same kind of QoS onto the upload also. So this is the recap of the last session. Now let us move forward so onto this. So this slide is basically a nutshell, and we will be discussing each item which is written here onto the upcoming slides. So what you see is that we had discussed how many types of QoS flow are there. So QoS flow type which is written here. So as we had discussed that there can be a QoS flow which is guaranteed bitrate flow. There can be a QoS flow which is non-guaranteed bitrate. Now within the GBR there are one more type which is called delay critical GBR QoS flow. Services which is very delay sensitive, they are called delay critical GBR. So there are some additional parameter which is added onto the QFI parameters, so that those are to be maintained to maintain such delay critical services, which is nothing but URLLC, the reliability part of the quality of service. So now there are many QoS flow parameters. So those are 5QI, ARP, RQA, GFBR, MFBR, notification control, and maximum packet loss rate. If suppose we want to know the full form of this, then I can zoom in this. So if you see, 5QI is 5G quality of service identifier, ARP is allocation and retention priority, GFBR is guaranteed flow bitrate, MFBR is maximum flow bitrate. We will discuss all this, don't worry. PDB is packet delay budget, PER is packet error rate, and QFI is quality of service flow identifier. I have been talking about QFI number. And then RQA is reflective QoS attribute. So these are the full form. And within 5QI, it is like QCR value in 4G. There are many parameters. Resource type is nothing but GBR, non-GBR, delay critical GBR. And what is the priority level of this 5QI value? And then PDB is nothing but packet delay budget. PER is nothing but packet error rate. And then you have DMDBV. This is default maximum data burst volume. It is for delay critical. We will discuss that what it is. And default averaging window. So these are various parameters which is part of, once you say a QFI number, all these things will come in picture. So just to make you understand, I'll just zoom this picture, and so just see that some of the parameter I will tell you that if you see the QoS profile which goes to G node B by SMF. So I talked about ARP, allocation and retention priority. So this goes to G node B. 5 QI values goes to G node B. That means these are related to the radio interface. RQoS is reflective quality of service. This is a and then MFBR, maximum flow bitrate, that is also for the radio, G node B. GFBR, guaranteed flow bitrate, this also goes to G node B. So you can see that the parameters which I talked about are part of QoS profile and going to the G node B. Similarly, there are certain parameters which will go as a QoS rule. For example, the QFI will definitely go, the quality service flow ID. And then what you are here getting is that session umber. Umber is nothing but aggregate maximum bit rate. In a session, what should be the aggregate maximum bit rate? then there are certain other parameters which goes. Similarly, in SDF template, other than those filters, so that is packet data rule is nothing but filters. Reflective QoS will start from here. So the network itself decides that a particular quality of service which is running, whether a reflective QoS can be applied or not. So it is signaled to UE in the download, along with the download packet itself, that whether UE can apply reflective QoS, that is QoS what was there in the download, whether the UE can apply onto the upload or not. So that's how you see this parameter goes to UE side also. So these all are parameters, how those are sent at different locations. Now let me ask for understanding this GFBR, that is guaranteed flow bitrate. So my question to any of you is that in which type of QoS flow this will be applicable. So I have three types. I have GBR flow or non-GBR flow or delay critical GBR flow. So GFBR is applicable to which type? Can somebody answer? Please go ahead. Both, yeah, GBR and delay critical. So as you see that GFBR and maximum flow bitrate is applicable to GBR type only, and the RQA, reflective quality of service, which UE applies, can somebody guess whether it is for GBR or non-GBR? So it is for non-GBR type. So they have actually defined, right? And ARP is also for non-GBR, allocation and retention priority. Matlab whether a resource can be allocated or allotted resource can be retained is in non-GBR only. In GBR, network has to try to maintain the quality of service. So ARP is applicable to non-GBR. And 5QI value is for both. So we'll see what those values are. So now let us go ahead and discuss all these parameters one by one. So these parameters, as you saw in the last slide, is 5QI, ARP. So there are a lot of terminology. Try to just remember if possible. Allocation and retention priority, reflective QoS attribute, notification control. I'll discuss about that. Flow bitrate, which is guaranteed flow bitrate and maximum flow bitrate. Then there is a concept of aggregate bitrate, which is at the level of PDU session or at the level of UE itself. And then what is the default value, and then maximum packet loss rate. These parameters are there, we will discuss. So ARP, I have already discussed that it is allocation and retention priority. So there are certain value given as part of the parameter, and the value defines two things. One is called preemption capability. So suppose a new service data flow want to enter, right, and which is suppose a SDF is already running onto the network, service data flow is already there, a particular QoS is applied, and a new SDF is coming which has got a lower or higher ARP priority level. So depending upon the level, it will be whether resources can be taken away or resources cannot be taken away is the case, it decides. So capability means from a lower priority level SDF, it will get the resources. So there it will be reduced, here it will get. And vulnerability means if an SDF is there and a higher priority level SDF is entering, so its resources will be taken. So depending upon the ARP value, resources are either snatched or given, or entry takes place. So that's the ARP. Now the next is reflective quality of service attribute. As I said that in 5G there is a new type of quality of service which is called reflective QoS, which was not there in 4G. So the UE can apply same quality of service as being received into the uh, download packets, but it cannot just blindly apply. Basically, onto the N2 interface, this is signaled whether the UE is to apply RQA or not, and those RQA parameters are also made part of that. So what happens in that case, that lot of signaling load is reduced, in the sense that for every type of quality of service, SMF has to convey all those QS rule and various parameter, which is not required if this kind of RQA is used. So, and in the specification, 3GPP has said this as an optional. So they have not made it mandatory in release 15. They have said it as a optional, that RQA or reflective QoS in 5G is optional, but many of the operators can actually, and OEMs can actually do this to reduce load on the signaling. So this is about reflective QoS. Now this is important, notification control. So notification control is generally for GBR, guaranteed bitrate. So what happens is that, suppose the G node B have a GBR kind of QoS running on a PDU session for any UE, and it's so basically when we say GBR, that means there is a guaranteed flow bitrate. When I say flow, it is QoS flow. So within a QoS flow, within the PDU session, you have a lot of QoS flow running. So within a particular QoS flow, there is a requirement of guaranteed bitrate in case of a GBR flow. So now suddenly G node B notices that it is not able to maintain this guaranteed flow bitrate because of any reason, right? So what it does is that it notifies SMF through MF. It will notify SMF that look, finally it goes to PCF, that look, I am not able to maintain this guaranteed flow bitrate, but it will not break the QoS flow. It will that QFI will still run with the lower resources. It will not break it, right? But it will inform to the PCF. Now the question is that suppose this was an application function was giving this service for which this GBR was required. So there may be a possibility that the application function can adapt to a lower data rate. For example, if it is a video streaming, so maybe it is being delivered in a SD format, and there is a possibility that it can be delivered in a SD format. So it can adapt to the requirement. So then maybe the application function, when PCF knows that it is not being maintained, then it has signaled to the PCF, and PCF may inform to the AF that your QoS is not able to maintain, and whatever is able to maintain is also sent. So what AF can do is that it can adopt from HD to SD for that moment, and the customer will still receive the service with slightly lower quality of service because of the adoption process, and it will continue. Again, if G node B is able to, but G node B will keep on trying to give the required quality of service, and again if it is able to do it, it will again inform the PCF and then to the AF, and again his SD download or stream can start. So any question on this before I move beyond this? Yeah, so there will be a problem. There will be a problem, there will be a collision if the quality of service is not maintained for any reason. So there may be a problem, you are right. So that's how for URLLC there are a lot of redundancy in the specification they have tried to build. But this is how in a GBR case system will react to. The system will definitely, so maybe I don't know, I'm answering from my own side that if application function is suppose V2X or critical service, and it knows that bitrate is not being maintained, so it may give a command to the vehicle to stop or to park somewhere. So maybe some kind of that decision would be taken to avoid any accident or any such things. If critical surgery is going, so everybody in the network will be made aware that there is a problem. So whatever they corrective action can take, they will take. I think that much I can answer, Savita. Okay, right. Thank you. Any more question, or shall I go to the next? Okay, fine. So now I'll talk about, so that was one type of notification control. There is a other type of notification wherein there is a concept of alternate QoS. Alternate QoS. So in application function, which is not drawn here, so application function, suppose it is running certain services, so it will have a particular quality of service or QFI. It needs a particular QFI. So what, but the application function will also know that what could be alternate quality of service. For example, if this is an higher side of QoS, then what could be the other QFI which is acceptable? So 1, 2, 3, 4 in a, decreasing order of priority. So the application function already or the PCF, if the service is of that operator inside, then the PCF itself can be configured. So it will have alternate QoS profile. So what happens is that for every QFI, if there is a predefined kind of quality of service, so those are configured in G Node B and all other network elements already configured, and if that is predefined, and if it is dynamically being decided, then it gets signaled while creating, when you create a PDU session. When you create a PDU session, at that point of time itself you get an QFI, and you also get alternate QFI if it is available, or if it is pre-configured, then system knows that for this QFI these are the alternate QFI. So what happens here also, same concept. If G Node B is not able to maintain a quality of service, QoS service in the flow, it will inform to finally PCF that it is not able to maintain, and then parallelly what it will try to maintain available alternate QoS. So they have 2, 3 manlo, so it will try first, then second, then third. So whatever it is able to maintain, it will again signal that I am able to maintain alternate number 1 or 2 or 3, or if it is not able to maintain, then it will also signal that it is not able to maintain. So so this is how this notification control works in case of an alternate QoS profile. And this specification about alternate QoS is also optional in the specification. They have said as an optional because maybe going forward they will make it mandatory, but the current specification says that it is optional, right? So as you read on the left side, SMF provides prioritized list of alternate QoS to ngRAN. If ngRAN is already having a list, it will replace, it will store, and then it will also replace if it is already having. So all this whatever I explained takes place into the network. Any question on this slide? Okay, let me move forward. So now I had already explained the flow bitrate. So when I say flow bitrate, it is only important because if it is non-GBR, then it is a best effort basis, right? So in a case of GBR only, guaranteed bitrate or delay critical guaranteed bitrate, there is a question of GFBR and MFBR. GFBR is guaranteed flow bitrate. So within this QoS flow, within this each QoS flow, if it is GBR, I am assuming here that these are GBR, then it has to maintain a minimum flow bitrate. So what is flow bitrate? So a bitrate in a averaging time window. Suppose there is a time window of 2000 millisecond. So within 2000 millisecond, how much data must be delivered from this end to that end is called guaranteed flow bitrate. So it doesn't mean that network will only provide this much bitrate which is guaranteed. It actually provides more, but there is a limit to that also. So that limit is called MFBR, maximum flow bitrate. So within this quality of service, so there is also a limit given, that maximum. So minimum guaranteed this much, and maximum this much. So this is how this flow rate are to be maintained onto the radio side. So all these definition are on radio side, and they have assumed that on this transmission side there is no lack of bandwidth, and those can be allocated. So it doesn't talk much about the limitation onto the tunnel side. It is assumed that there the limitation is assumed only towards the radio side, and here it has been assumed that proper bandwidth or backhaul has been provided. If you do not provide backhaul, then there is no meaning of QoS flow which is being maintained at radio. Okay, so now once I have talked about flow bitrate, so that was at QoS level. So now there is a aggregate bitrate. What is aggregate bitrate? So now you have said QoS flow 1, so here some bitrate is running, QoS flow 2 some bitrate is running, QoS flow 3 some bitrate is running. But please be careful that when we say aggregate bitrate, it is not for GBR. We don't consider GBR. GBR is already defined what is the maximum and what is the guaranteed. So leave about, so in a PDU session, if you have GBR flow, you just discount that. Don't count in the aggregate bitrate. You just count non-GBR. So in this example, let us assume that flow 1, flow 2 and flow 3 are non-GBR, NGBR, and then add these bitrate, this one and this one. So basically what you get is the session number. So for this PDU session, what is the aggregate maximum bit rate? What is the aggregate maximum bit rate which is being provided? So this parameter is also part of the QoS parameters, that for every QoS QFI a session number is also defined, but only for non-GBR. In case of a GBR, you have guaranteed bit rate and guaranteed flow rate and maximum flow rate. So this is how, so what it says that this may be a subscribed bit rate. Subscriber may have subscribed to a particular rate, and a PCF may also signal it if required. And how to measure this? So in a particular period it is measured, that in how much period, those period I will discuss when I will show you the table, that how much data, aggregate data has to, maximum can pass. So that is aggregate bit rate. Any question till now? Okay, no question. So now the next, so basically sir, suppose as a user I have subscribed to 1 Gbps plan, sir, 1 Gbps plan, and maybe I start using many so for GBR I have subscribed, so many non-GBR kind of n number of sessions of YouTube channel, sir, and maybe I have created a hotspot and a lot of devices are connected and everybody is trying to do in YouTube. So so there will be many quality of service, and network is suppose kind of resources are available. So it will, on a best effort basis, it will continue to give me resources, but they want to limit it. So since I have subscribed to 1 Gbps, my aggregate maximum bit rate for that PDU session will be limited by whatever I have subscribed. Right, sir. Now there is also a concept of UE number. As yesterday we had, on that day we had discussed that, and one UV can have more than one PDU session. One UV can have more than one PDU session. But the question remains that in what scenario many PDU sessions would be created. That's I had not answered it clearly. Even now when I had asked this to C. Fellow, he also didn't answer. That's a question somebody can research. But for sake of specification, one UV can have more than one PDU station. So here I have shown two PDU station for the UV, and in both PDU station 3 flows, 1 2 3 1 2 3. So here you add all the, and it is here also it is only for the non-GBR. You add all the flow bit rate, then you get an aggregate maximum bit rate at the UV level. So this is also kind of limited to the subscribed value, right? So the limit is that. So basically this has become an upper limit, and in case I have only one session, then that session number is equal to the UV number, and it is also limited to the subscribed value. I hope these concepts are coming clear to all of you. Okay, so now in the initial slides I had said that when UV latches onto the network, a PDU session is created and one QS flow is added, which is default QS flow. So this default QS flow is also like a kind of a subscription based. So if I have subscribed normally default is a non-GBR. So suppose I have subscribed to a particular service, then based on that subscription in the UDM, that particular default QS parameter or that value QFI will be there, and that will be retrieved by SMF, and accordingly this default QS will be added for me. So what I wanted to explain here is that default QS flow, which is given at the time of first creation of PDU session, is per UV basis, that every UV can have a separate default QS. So it's not that default means default for everyone. So every subscriber can have a default. There may be a case wherein operator can define a single default QS flow for all customers, and they will keep adding additional resources as and when customer is accessing the services. That could also be the case, but specification provides both options, that a subscribed default 5QI values is allocated to a particular user. So that is called default value. Let me stop and ask if anyone has doubt so far. Okay, fine. Right. So now let us discuss about the maximum packet loss rate. So it's simple, as the name suggests, that maximum packet loss rate, how much packet loss can be tolerated. So basically this is also related to only GBR. This is also related to only GBR kind of flow, maximum packet loss rate, and it is not applicable for NGBR. And now the 5 QI characteristics, which was the first one, but I am taking that in the last, is basically it's a scalar kind of. So there will be a 5 QI 1 2 3 4 number. There are certain numbers, and for every number these parameters are defined. What is the resource type, what is the priority level, what is the packet delay budget, what is packet error rate, what is averaging window, and what is maximum data burst volume. And you can see that these parameters, if I again kind of zoom in, these parameters were there, you can see here, and accordingly they maintain it. So let me go to the next slide. So resource type, you already know that GBR, non-GBR, and delay critical GBR. We will discuss each of them. So what is the priority level? So priority level is that, for example, if I am talking about 5 QI, which is equivalent to QCI in 4G. If it value can be 1, its value can be 2, its value can be 3. It's a scalar, and corresponding to this value there are certain parameters which I discussed. So priority level, this defines the priority level. If suppose these two 5 QI values are there in a quality of service QFI, If there is a resource crunch because of some reason, then this will be given priority compared to this one. So that is a priority level, so which is a kind of a number that is defined. So priority level we have understood. Now what is packet delay budget? What is the packet delay budget? PDB. So that means ki from how much a packet can be delayed in terms of time, maximum delay, how much it can be tolerated. So that they have defined for GBR, they have defined for delay critical GBR, and they have defined for non-GBR QS flow. For all the three types they have defined. For a normal GBR, they say that generally 98% of the packet should not be delayed more than packet delay budget. So they have defined certain time that a packet should be received within that much time, and 98% of the packet should be received. So that's for GBR QS flow. For delay critical, what they have defined that in the PDB, packet delay budget, suppose some microsecond is the packet delay budget. So in that there is a value called MDBV, maximum data burst volume. So this is generally for URLLC, as you know. So URLLC data requirement is less, but reliability is more. Timely it has, latency is important. So suppose they have defined that 300 bytes is the data, which is MDBV, must be received in this packet delay budget. It's a delay critical, so within that time this much data must be received, and if it is not received, this will be considered as lost, and if it is being considered as lost, it will be added into the packet error rate also. So that is for delay critical GBR, right? And for non-GBR, so here also they define that in 98% cases the packet should not experience delay. So although there is nothing, rate is guaranteed, but the delay part, rate is fine, but delay part, 98% of the packet should actually reach within the PDB defined in the 5QI value. So this is how packet delay budget is treated. This was a slightly complex concept as far as delay critical GBR was concerned. If you read the document, it becomes complex, but I have tried to simplify. Any question on this? You can say yes or no so that I proceed. Okay, right, thank you. And then packet error rate, we all know that what is packet error rate. If some packet are lost, which is transmitted, is counted as packet error rate. So, and in 5G, when packet error rate they have defined, they consider that it is not because of the congestion, it is because of the network, how much packet is getting lost. If it is a congestion, then because of the congestion, packet is lost at some level, then those are not counted in actually packet error rate as per the definition. And in both side it is same, uplink and downlink, both same. And packet error rate, as I had explained, that in case of a delay critical GBR, when those MDBV, maximum data burst volume, whatever is defined in a byte, is not received within PDP, then those are considered as lost and added into the packet error rate. And packet error rate is already defined even for GBR and delay critical GBR. Okay, so averaging window is a time, say 2000 microsecond or millisecond, in which all these parameters, guaranteed flow bitrate or maximum flow bitrate, are measured, or even umber and all are measured in a particular window, averaging window. So averaging window is nothing but a time in which these rates will be defined. So in this much duration, how much data has been received, and then what becomes the rate is the averaging window. And mostly it is for GBR because all those data rates guarantee is there in the GBR. And maximum data burst volume I have already explained, so I am moving forward. Okay, now this is important. This is your 5QI. This looks slightly smaller, but I'll explain this table to at least some of the numbers, and then you will understand what it means. So there is a QCI table in 4G also, exactly similar. All parameters are same, more or less. So the value is 1. So 5QI1 means this they have defined for voice, normal voice. Just you can see here. Now as I said that what are the various parameter in 5QI? It is resource type, default priority level, packet delay budget, packet error rate, MDBV and averaging window. So these are the parameters. So let's see, let us go through this conversational voice. So here priority level given is 20, and then packet delay budget is given is 100 millisecond. That means maximum delay they can tolerate is 100 millisecond for voice, and then the packet error is 10 to the power minus 4. I think it's very small, and averaging window is 2000 millisecond. That means in within 2000 millisecond all these whatever rate, packet error rate will be counted. And this is not applicable because I said that the maximum data burst volume is for delay critical type resources. Here I am talking about only guaranteed bitrate kind of a resources. So this was your voice. If you look at video, its number is 2, priority is 40. So just see that voice priority is 20, video priority is 40. So priority, suppose there is a congestion, then priority will be given to voice services compared to video services. And here packet delay budget was 100 millisecond, here packet delay budget is also slightly relaxed. And this packet error rate, and then you have averaging window. So these were the two examples. I'll also take example of when you have a voice call. So there are two QS established, one for the voice itself and one for the signaling of the voice. This is GBR and this is non-GBR. So let's see since we have seen voice, let us see in the next page. Rest you can read, it is given in the document as well as here. So if I go to the next, so it's a non-GBR type resource and it is IMS signaling. IMS signaling would maybe for a voice. So here if you see the 5QI value is 5. So and priority level is 10. Just see for the voice call, which was a GBR, priority level was 20, but even in non-GBR for IMS signaling priority level is 10. So that means if there is a voice traffic, then signaling is given more priority than the voice itself, right? And then packet delay budget is similar, 100 millisecond, but packet error rate is very stringent compared to the voice was 10 to the power minus 4, here it is minus 6. That means error is not tolerated in the signaling part. So this is how they have defined this 5QI default value, and they have also said that these are only defined value and more can be added. And if you see many things they have left, after 9 there is a 69, 70, many numbers are left perhaps for some services which they will be defining in future releases. So here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 65, 66. So many of the numbers are not yet defined. They might have thought, but the parameters they have not defined because those are not part of release 15 and release 16. So now we have seen GBR, non-GBR, and let us see now delay critical GBR. So we'll see only one example, any one example, like say let us see automation, or maybe you can see V2X. So this is a V2X messages for advanced driving, collision avoidance. These are the purpose, right? So here just see the priority number is 86, priority is 18, so better than voice, but not better than voice signaling. And packet delay budget is very stringent, 5 millisecond. There it was 100 millisecond, it's a 5 milliseconds. So most reliability is very high. Reliability is very high. Packet error rate is 10 to the power minus 4. And here comes the maximum data burst volume. It says that this much data must be transmitted within the PDB, within this packet delay budget. Within 5 milliseconds, this much data must be delivered, otherwise this will be considered to be lost. So that's how they make it ultra reliable and low latency, and averaging window they take 2000 milliseconds. So I will just kind of stop here and take question on this if any questions are there. So any question or anything from anyone? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So that they have not yet defined. So if you see this table, today they have not defined. So that may be for something more critical. Those are not defined in the specification. Whatever I am showing is the one which is there. So that means if nothing is below 10, then it is kind of a first priority. Okay, now come again, sir. 5, so that may be more critical. You can see that if there is a 5, the 5 is for, let's see, 5 is for mission critical. Yeah, you are right. This is for mission critical sensitive signaling, some service called MCPT, push to talk. It is for public safety. Public safety in a natural disaster, they are being given topmost priority even to V2X, PTT. So they have rightly defined. Is it okay, sir? Yeah. Okay, so now the last slide. Last slide is a comparison between LTE quality of service and 5G. So basically we have seen in 5G that we have DRB, and on DRB you have QoS flow, then you have NG channel, and then there is a packet mapping here and packet mapping here. This is how it is maintained. We have explained it. But in 4G, just a very brief, you also had a concept of radio bearer. Then on to, as I said, that you will have S gateway, PDN gateway, and then data network. So here what they call is S1 bearer, and then you have here S5 and S8 bearer, and then the complete, so whatever we are calling QoS flow, there they call it EPS bearer. There they call it EPS bearer. So this is the difference. And in 5G they have added SDAP layer for specifically quality of service, whereas in 4G, in every radio layer they have some parameters to manage the quality of service. So what they say is that it has been improved a lot. The concept is improved a lot in 5G. In addition, you have reflective QoS in 5G. So that is the comparison which I have taken from one of the website which I have mentioned here. So what are the difference in various parameter? Just for a comparison purpose. So the QoS identifier is 5QI, which I just talked about in 5G. In 4G it is QCI. The lowest level of flow where quality of service maintained, we call it QoS flow in 5G. There we saw it is called EPS bearer. And how do we identify a flow or bearer is by QFI in 5G and EPS bearer or EBI in 4G. Reflective QoS indicator is RQI in 5G, which was not there in 4G. So this is a broad comparison which we have. This is same thing in a different diagram. So with this my slides are over. So if you have any question we will take, or else we will close it for today.